Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to Jamie Photography. So something a little bit different in this video today. I'm going to take you on a little bit of a panoramic trip inside Salisbury Cathedral. And yeah, it's a beautiful cathedral in Wiltshire, in the south of England. We recently shot this on my my medieval cities workshop tour, which took place in September. We had some great fun and had some good guests, good students that came along, and we had a fantastic 10 days, and we covered a lot of the south of England, all the medieval cities, Winchester, Salisbury, Bath. We started in London and we ended up in Bristol. So it was a great trip, but we got the opportunity to go into Salisbury Cathedral. Here it is. And what you're looking at is the font, which is at the sort of a third of the way down the main nave. And you can see the left and the right where the water's coming off the edge of the font, and this perfect reflection that we had on top of the font. So what I've done here is I've created the perfect reflection by effectively taking out a little bit in the edge there, but we had to go wide for this shot. So where did we start? Well, we had 6 shots. Here they are, which I shot handheld, because we couldn't use tripods. It was quite busy in there. So I took the shots, but of course as low as down as I could get to get the perfect reflection, but you could still see the chairs in the center part of the church there. So we bring these together in a panorama, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to show you how to remove those chairs so that we end up with this perfect reflection, which looks really, really good. And it's a bit of a trick shot, I get that, but it does make people look, and they look hard at it to try to understand the image, and hopefully you'll enjoy doing it as well. So I've put the 6 raw files in a link down below. You're welcome to download them, follow along, copy me as we go through and learn the techniques. We're going to use Photoshop to do the main reflection adding, and we're going to remove a few bits and pieces as we go. Let me just show you a shot of Salisbury Cathedral from the outside whilst we were there. It wasn't the best day in the world, so but that made for the light inside to be a little bit better. We didn't have a huge contrast, but it's a beautiful, beautiful cathedral, one of the early cathedrals. Actually, this particular building was started in 1220 and completed in I think it was 1258. So they really got on with it and built it. A fabulous place to actually go and visit. So, and the spire, just out of interest, 404 feet tall. It's the second highest cathedral nave in Europe. So I'll tell you a little bit more about the cathedral as we go through. If you've got 5 minutes, pop over and have a look at my website. The link's down below. You can find out a little bit about me, the gear I shoot, and see some of the images that I have. And I also have a night sky pack available if you're interested to download that. If you like this video, please feel free to like. It always helps the algorithm here with YouTube, and feel free to share. And if you haven't already subscribed, join me on this great adventure here on YouTube and subscribe. And I always love to hear your comments and questions and any tips you might have, so feel free to put them down below. Okay, let's get started. So, super wide angle panorama. It's going to be quite interesting here. So we've got 6 images in total, as you can see. So we couldn't use tripods. We were in the cathedral at the time and it was quite busy. So we did handheld shots with the camera. And what I shot at was ISO 1600, so I could get that handheld at f8. And the best I can get away with the in-body camera stabilization and the lens stabilization working, 1/15 of a second gives us a really sharp image, as you can see, but we are at 1600 ISO. So my workflow requires, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all 6 images here. So click on number 1, hold down shift, click on number 6. So we've got all 6, and then I'm going to go down to denoise, which is under the detail section. So I'm going to click on denoise. So I'm going to do 40%, 1600 ISO. There's a little bit of noise there, but 40% should do. Estimates it's going to take about 55 seconds to do all 6. So as you can see, enhance 6 images. So I'm just going to click on that, and it's going to start working on that up there in the top corner. So we're going to bring all 6 images together, and once we've denoised them, we'll have much higher resolution as well in terms of the detail that we'll see. And what I'm going to do is then bring them together in a panel. But before I do that, I just want to make some adjustments, minor adjustments, particularly with shadows and highlights to each image before we go forward into the panos. So as you can see, it's working on those images up there. Hopefully it won't take too much longer and we will be able to work with these. But what you can see is, because I did not click create stack, you've got the images separated. So the ones with the two boxes here, adjustment boxes on them, are the ones which will have the denoise applied to them. So they're the ones we're going to use. You can see they show up as enhanced stroke NR .dng. So they're going to be the images that we're going to use, and you can still see the first ones are highlighted. Okay, there we go. So we'll start with image number 1, and I just want to make some changes here. I'm just going to open the shadows all the way up, and you can see there's a couple of light diffractions here, but we'll see how the panorama deals with that. I'm just going to bring the highlights down just a little bit, not too far. If you go too far, it can look a little bit unnatural. So I'm just going to come down to about -60. Which I think works quite well. Just going to check my blacks and my whites. So I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key and just move the slide and make sure we've got no white showing. So you can see there's white there. So I'm just going to bring that back. So just a couple of little speckles there. And we don't have the triangle showing up on the histogram. Do the same with the blacks. Hold down the Option or Alt key. Just bring that down until we see a little bit of black appear. There we go. I don't mind a little bit. But again, we haven't got the triangle. So we've got the full dynamic range now included. That's all I'm going to do for that particular image. But what I'm going to do is going to go down here to the film strip. I'm going to right click on the image I've just adjusted. I'm going to go to develop settings here, and then I'm going to go up and say copy settings. Okay, I'm going to check all, so everything's checked there, and I'm going to click copy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the other images in that selection. So remember the ones that we denoise. So and then to highlight them all, I'm going to hold down the Control or Command key on a Mac, and I'm just going to move across and just select the images that we need to deal with, not the ones that we had the original images. I'm going to right click on any one of those, go back into Develop Settings, go to Paste Settings, and it will automatically add the same settings to all of them, as you can see. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the panorama with these images. So I'm just going to hold down the Command or Control key again and just add number 1. So we've got the 6, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. There we go, the 6. Pick any one of them on the film strip, right click, go to Photo Merge, and go to Photo Merge Panorama. And what this will do is it will open the panorama module. It will do a quick render of the images together. There we go. And what you can see is we have some options we can play with. Now, spherical is normally where we end up. Perspective is quite a difficult one to do in the vertical. If I click on it, yeah, unable to merge. And cylindrical always comes up with something strange. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So it's more up and down instead of left to right. So I'm going to go with spherical. I think that's quite good. You can use the auto crop if you want to. It'll auto crop the image, but I'm going to crop that myself later just to make sure. You can also click auto settings and it will just apply some settings to it. But again, I'm going to deal with that, so no need to do that. I'm going to create a stack this time. So all of these images go behind this one image. And then I'm just going to click merge, and then it will render these into a single image. So it's just working on that, as you can see up in the top there. So these images will all disappear, the ones that are highlighted, just down to a single image, which will be the pano. There we go. So this is the one here. So there's the 6 original, and there's the one that we're going to be working on. To allow us to go forward, what we're going to need to do is decide on what sort of crop we want to use. Now, what I'm particularly interested in is the edge of the font here, this sort of loop here, and I've got that both sides. So what I can do is go into the crop tool here, and I can bring this across just to see how that would look if I come in on there. And it works quite well, but what you'll notice is that the perspective is pulling inwards, as you can see, to the top. So before we crop, what we're going to do is we're going to make some adjustments to the perspective, and we're going to go down to transform. Now you could just click auto if you want to and see what happens. Now they're leaning slightly outwards. What I'm going to do instead is use guided, and then I'm going to pick these columns here. I'm just going to go up on the edge of that column there, come down to the bottom on the edge of that column there. Click there, and the same on this side. So I'm just going to pick the same column here, down to the bottom. There we go. And it will just pull those vertical. Now, there is always a slight optical illusion when you get a lot of vertical or horizontal lines. So this actually looks like it's leaning outwards slightly at the top. So what we can do is we can just pull these slightly to the left or slightly to the right to get less of an effect or more of an effect. If I go further out, you'll see they'll lean out more. If I pull the bottom over and lean them inwards, you'll see they'll go inwards. I'm just going to go back into the crop here just to make sure. I'm just going to come out and get the center of that pillar, and I'm just going to get the center of that pillar there. Now that does leave a little mark, but we can deal with that. So I'm going to bring the bottom up and just see where that gets us, just inside about there. And we're going to bring the roof down just so, again, just inside. So that's pretty good. I'm going to hit return. I would think that's almost a one-to-one. Actually, if I just go into the custom settings and pick one-to-one, I can see that gives us quite a good crop on a one-to-one. I want to make sure this is dead in the center of the image, the center of the aisle here, and just make sure we're happy with those verticals again, and that line is in the same place. In fact, we could just go just slightly bigger. Let me just make that a little bit bigger. Just make sure that center is there. Yeah, that's fine. Hit return again. So we've got this little mark. We'll deal with that when we go over into Photoshop, when we have a little bit of a tidy up in here. And one of the things I'm going to show you is how we remove these chairs here and get a really fantastic effect with this font. So let's just check our settings up here. Just going to add a little bit of clarity to the scene, just to make it pop a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is just reduce the saturation just slightly, but then increase the vibrance. And that has quite a nice effect in there. I'm just going to pick up that the blues are a bit bright down there. So I'm just going to reduce the saturation on the blues by going down to the color mixer. Just reduce that saturation just a little bit so that it's not too blue down there, because the vibrance does tend to push that up. That's fine. Okay, I think we're ready to go over into Photoshop. So I'm going to right click, going to edit in, and we're going to go over into Photoshop. Okay, I still use the beta version, but the full edition of Photoshop 2025 works just fine, and all the things I'm going to show you today are included in there as well. So we're just going to pop over into Photoshop. There we go. And then we're just going to have a little bit of a tidy up first, sort this little thing out on the edge here, and then we'll do the reflection to get it really good. So let's sort this out on the side here first of all. So I'm going to take the lasso tool here. I'm just going to go round the obstruction that we have here, just like that. There we go. That's highlighted, and I'm going to use generative fill just so it fills in there. So I'm going to click generative fill and generate. There we go, and that's done a very good job there. What I am going to do is just consider the crop again whilst I'm in here. I think the edge of the font here is just a little bit of detail on both sides. You can see it's just sort of showing either side. I just want to bring that in a little bit. So let's go to the crop tool. Let's just move that over so it's on that actual line there, right where the corner of the font moves. So just go in there like so. There we go. It's just the little details that can make a difference, and I'm just going to hit return on that. So that's fine. So we look pretty good. There's just a little bit of a line there. I'm just going to bring these two layers together by going to flatten image. Click on any layer, and then you can right click and flatten the image, and it just makes sure that that's allowed for there. So that's pretty good. I think the next step is just to tidy up some of these little diffractions that we've got with the lens. So we can zoom in to those. So and hold down the space bar just to move around. Now to zoom, you can just use your pinch pad on your touchpad. You can just pinch to move, or you can wheelie your mouse to move in and out. Or if you wish, you can go to the little magnifying glass here, and then you can select positive or negative. So if you go on positive, you can click to zoom in, and then either change it to negative to zoom out, or you can just hold down the Alt key when you're in either to give you the opposite, so that you can just move things around. So I'm just going to go into here and then click on the Remove tool. And now I'm on the Remove tool. I'm going to use this to just capture these elements in here that you can see. So I'm just going to make the brush a little bit bigger. Just going to highlight that. There we go. And click check to make it work. If you don't want to click check every time, you can just put remove after each stroke. Just check that one on, and then you can just carry on then, and automatically it will just do the work for you as you go around, pick up on it, anything that's discolored there. So there we go. I'm just going to move the image over. It's a couple over here. So just finding my way with those sort of light diffractions. That's fine. Just a little one there, one there, and there's one up here, look. So you can just literally highlight them. Even if you're crossing these straights, the remove tool is very good at figuring out what needs to be done, and it keeps those lines in there. Now there's a couple of little things. I'd like to take this gentleman out here who's just walking past, and I'd like to take these people out, and then we can do the reflection. So we were quite lucky. It wasn't overly busy that day. We managed to get to a point where people were behind us, so we were able to take this shot. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more. So we're really in very close here, and the priest is down the back there. So I'm just going to take him out like so, and then we're just going to making the brush bigger and smaller, just using the square bracket keys to the left of the return key. And then we're just going to go in there and just remove those first off. There we go. And same here. So I've got the auto mode turned on for generative fill. So it may use generative fill if it wants to. It isn't using it because you'll see the little timer comes up when you do want to use it. So I'm happy to leave it in this auto mode, and then it can choose for itself whether it wants to use it or not. So that chap's cane is still there, so I'm just going to remove that. And forgive my voice, a bit croaky at the moment. I had a cold last week, so sorry for the croakiness. Just take this chap out. There's somebody's arm over there. Good, they're all clear. Let's see if we can do this chap over here. So I think this is going to require generative fill, but let Photoshop decide for itself. So we're just going to come down through here, just taking him out. We'll keep that post in there, around there. There we go. And let's see. Well, it removed him, but it didn't use generative AI. So I'm just going to undo that with Control or Command Z. We're going to go into this selection at the top here and say generative AI on. Okay, so we want you to actually use it this time. So we're just going to come down, do the same thing again. I think take him out the water, his reflection out the water as well. Up that post, there we go, and back to the top. So let's see if generative AI this time can do a better job. Certainly keep the edge of this tomb here. Yeah, that's better. There you go. That worked quite well. Okay, so happy with that. So what we're going to do now is is there anything else we need to tidy up? Maybe I want to take these speakers off the wall. So let's go back into auto mode. Let's take a slightly smaller brush here, and let's just take those out. So I'll show you a little trick as well. If you do uncheck the remove after each stroke, what you can do is you can click on the top of the speaker, go down to the bottom there, hold down the shift key, and then you can highlight it, and then you can check them to do it that way. So if you want to do sort of straight ones and you haven't got a steady hand, you can always just click the top, click the bottom, and of course you can do many if you want to all at the same time. So we can just do those and then click check, and it will remove them for you. So so let me just do them on the other side and give you a little bit of history about Salisbury Cathedral. So it was built originally in Old Sarum, which is not too far away from where it is at the moment, in 1075. But they didn't really, after a couple of hundred years, they didn't really want it there. They decided that they're going to move the cathedral, build a new cathedral in an open space where there was no obstructions, so that the architect could really design and build whatever he wanted, in keeping with what the powers that be would like. So they started in 1220, and it actually was completed in 1258, which for a large cathedral was an extremely quick amount of time. So it was well funded, and they were able to do the work very quickly. And then the main spire was actually completed on top of the building around about 1320, and at the time it was the highest building in the known world, and it was certainly at something like 404 feet high, 123 meters. It was something quite special, and it held the record there for 120 years until I think it was 1439, when the great cathedral in Strasbourg was built. And the great cathedral in Strasbourg was built at 143 meters. So I think there was a little bit of one-upmanship at the time. So, but the spire still stands to this day on Salisbury, and you can go and see it. And as I showed you the image earlier, it's a very imposing building from the outside, and incredible to see. And the architecture inside also is quite special. So now there are a couple of famous people buried here, but I'm not going to go through everybody for you. But probably the most notable was the cousin of Queen Elizabeth I, and which was Lady Catherine Grey. And she was actually buried here, and at a very young age, unfortunately, died of consumption at 27 years old. So yeah, it's that's I suppose what churches and cathedrals are for. But yeah, she's buried here. So but one interesting fact, which I always find quite interesting about the cathedral, is that it actually has the oldest working clock that's run since the day it was commissioned in 1386, and it still runs to this day inside the cathedral, which is quite interesting. And when you consider how many years that clock has been running, obviously it's had a lot of maintenance along its way, but interestingly, it's been running since 1386. Yeah, as I say, so quite astounding, really. The font itself, out of interest, is quite a modern undertaking. It was built by a water architect, like a water sculptor chap called William Rye, and it was commissioned in September 2008. So this is quite a modern thing in the cathedral, but it looks fantastic, and it is beautifully made out of marble and copper. It really is astounding. So if you do get a chance to go to Wiltshire in the south of England and see Salisbury Cathedral, it's fabulous there. So right, we've had most of the tidy up, I think, as much as we would like to do there. What I'd like to do now is actually create the completion of the reflection here to make it really work. So now we're going to complete the reflection. Now there are a number of ways we could do this. We could make a copy of the whole image, turn it upside down, and then paint it through using a layer mask. But there's an easier way here, because we've already got a beautiful reflection. What we just need to do is complete the joints as they cross over from one to the other. So we can use our good old-fashioned clone stamp tool to do this, which is a great tool for just completing lines and filling areas in. So what we're going to do is, now I've selected it, we have to effectively, so let's just make the brush bigger. So using the square brackets next to the return key, I want to, and we're going to zoom in. Okay, so let's start on the outer edge. So hold down the space bar to move. And whilst I'm here, I think I'm going to take out these blue ropes as well, just so that they don't show up, because we don't want them in the reflection. So I'm just going to select the remove tool as well. Just go to the edge of that rope, turn the check mark off, which it is, and then I can come in here with one click, and then I can just work my way along. So shift click, shift click, shift click. Now we will be losing this anyway, but I'm just going to come in there and remove that. Let's do the check mark to remove that rope. You're going to do the same over here. Just work our way around to get rid of these ropes. They should, it'd be a little bit easier once they're gone because of the reflections. So just check that one as well. That's good. And then just coming across here, break there. So remember, I'm clicking once, holding down the shift key and clicking again just to remove them. So I think we're probably going to remove these as well, just where they're a little bit higher. And see, I'm just freehanding this time. There we go. That's fine. Over this side, let's just do these ones over here. So I can freehand that one. That's good. And then I'm going to click, shift click, shift click, shift click, just to get that line nicely done through there. So check that one as well. And then just this last one over here to do. So just going to stop and start. There we go. And we can remove those ones as well. So that's good. Do we need to move these ones down here? I'd like to have that flower in the shot. So I'm just gonna remove, so down smaller, shift click shift, just work our way along. Just get that sorted now quickly. Remove that post, that one there, and that one there. Check that. Right, now we're ready to do the lines joining across. So we're going to go up and use the stamp tool. Okay, so the clone stamp tool, which you can get to with S. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a brush that's not too large. We're going to get in a bit closer, move ourselves over and start with one pillar at a time. So I'm just going to go somewhere up higher here. I'm going to hold down the Alt or Option key and click once, and that will take a copy. As you can see, that will take a copy here. And I'm just going to line that up now at the bottom there and just drag that through as such. There you go, just down to there. So you can see it paints that line across. Now, as long as we don't move, we can use the same effect to continue to paint just a little bit further over. And I'm just going to come in there and just put that edge there, as you can see. I'm going to bring this down as well, and we're just going to paint those as we're coming across. For this one, we can still use that edge because I took one snip, if you like, from there. I'm going to do the same along here. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to take a snip from here. So Alt or Option key, take a snip a little bit higher up, move that down into that position, and just paint that across. So we can just paint that across that edge, you see. Now that one doesn't quite line up, so we'll redo that one there. And we've also got the top of the chairs there. So let's just go back there. Let's try that again. So we can take that crop from there, make my brush a little bit smaller. Just going to come in here. I'm just going to paint along that line there. That's it. Come up through there. Get rid of those chairs. And then just come in here and just paint along that line there. That's it. Come up through there. Get rid of those chairs. And then just come in here and just paint along that line there. That's it. Come up through there. Get rid of those chairs. And then just come in here and just paint along that line there. That's it. Come up through there. Get rid of those chairs. go. I've got that line back in. To deal with these chairs here, we just take a snip from further down here. So we just take a snip from here. We come up through there and we can literally just paint those across there as well. So you can just join these together either from the bottom to the top or the top to the bottom. So if you just come up through there, look, we can just take that out through there. So you effectively bring that reflection further up if you wish. Smaller again, just going to go in here and just take a snip from here and then just paint that line across there. Look, just to bring that in there. So that's looking good. I don't like that little bit there, so we're just going to paint that out. So just go up above, Alt to take a snip, and then just paint that bit in there. And the same with this pole here. We're just going to take another snip here and we'll just correct that where it is. So that's what we need to do all the way across. So a little bit of the chair there. Let's just take that out again. So I'm just going to come down a little bit further here and just take that out. There you go. So same here. So let's start on this pillar and we'll use Alt to go up here. And then we will literally take a line. You can see there's a little edge there and we will just paint down through. There we go. To the edge of that pillar and back up again. And then just paint that in. Same over here. You can either continue with the same point or just take another snip. Let's take one from up here. And then just line that up again down here. We just come down through there across and just paint that in. I'm going to go over here and just paint this little bit in as well. So we just take that line out there. I want to extend this window up. So same thing, Alt down here. I'm going to take this center point on the glass there and I'm just going to bring that up just a little bit. So it sort of comes up to that line. So you're just creating the effect as you go over. So going to come up a little bit further on this one. I'm going to take a snip from up there. We're going to put that down here, go right the way down through. There we go. Just take that detail out of there. Come across here. Now you've got a little bit more here again. So just either come down or take another snip further up. So Alt or Option, further up, line up, like we said, and then just paint those out. Look, there we go. Got a nice line through there. There's a double detail here. I don't like this bit of detail here. So what we can do is we can go up to this point here. Again, take another stamp, move that down there, paint that out, come down here and paint that one out. There we go. Let's just correct that. There we go. So I'm just going to work my way across doing the same thing all the way through. And but let me just do this bit in the center here, because what we need to do is be able to see the effect that we've got with the window up here. So what I reckon we can do here is we can take probably the bottom of this window and apply it down here. So what I'm going to do is continue across. So let's go up here. Let's take a snip from up here. And we'll just line that up. There we go. And just paint through here. That's as far down as we can come. We're going to come across to there. That's it. Take another snip further up again. Another stamp there and just line that up. There we go. Just make sure we're lined up well. And then just work your way through, taking out that line as you do. And there's paint through. So that's looking pretty good there. What I do want to do is consider what we're going to do with these chairs. Now, I'd like to keep the woodwork here in, but I don't really want to see the chairs. Fortunately, we'll have to take the altar out because we're not going to create a reflection. Or should we? No, maybe we should create a reflection. Let's just take this out first. So what I'm going to do is come down here and take a snip from down here, move up just as we've been doing, take it up to the bottom of there and just come across. I'm not going to quite go where the windows are just for a minute. I'm just going to come back through there. There we go. And we can do the reflection of this. This won't be a problem. We can do a little flip, and we can turn that one upside down as well. Because at the moment you've got it at the top and you've got the cross at the top showing. So this bit we're going to take another snip from down here, and then we're just going to find that little straight edge again, and we're just going to come in, and perhaps we can just round that through just a little bit, something interesting there, just round that through. So you've got the altar, but you've also got the sort of window in the shot as well. And we'll just take that out. It's not quite in line there. We're slightly out of line there. So just come down here, take another snip. Just work your way through, making sure they're in line. Just line that one up. There we go, nice and straight. So just need to carry across and do the same on this side. So I'm just going to speed the video up and we'll work our way through there. And then we'll come back and we'll do the little reflection of these bits over here. So let me just continue here. I'll speed the video up and I'll be back in a moment. Just straighten that little edge up there, and I think we have a pretty good reflection. What I just need to do is sort out this issue over here because I'm not too happy about these railings. So I think what we'll do is we'll remove those railings from the shot. So let's just zoom in, same on this side. Let's just remove those railings there. So go to Remove Tool, we will select, and we will just run through with the Remove Tool, click, Shift click, just to get the straight lines. There we go, and check those. It works fine. We'll do these reflections in 1 second. So I'm just going to tidy this up over this side as well. So just going to come to the end there, Shift click, Shift, just take out the baubles on the top. There we go, down there, and we'll come across here. Just take out those. There we go. So check that. That's pretty good. A little bit of detail here. We just need to sort that little bit of detail out there. So we'll go back to the stamp tool, stamp clone tool. There we go. And we'll take from up there and we'll just blend that in. Same here, we're just going to just blend that little edge there so it's nice and straight. That's good. Right, so how are we going to do this? Right, what we're going to do is we're going to take the rectangular marquee tool. We're just going to select that and we're going to copy the things we want to turn over. So we're just going to come across here like this to this side. And that's got the altar and it's got the flowers in. We're going to let go of that. We're going to make a copy of that, Control C, and then we're going to paste it, Control V. Okay, so we now have, if I turn off the background, we now have the selection that we made. But what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're on layer 1 there, which is the selected one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to Command T, so we've selected it so we can free transform. We're going to right click on it, we're going to flip vertical. Okay, so we now have the one on top which is vertical. So we can see through to see exactly where it is. We're just going to go to the blend mode here and select screen. You can see that I just selected that. Go to the move tool up in the top left corner there, and now we can move this one on top of the other one so we can see exactly where it is. And let's line the flowers up roughly about there. That's it. So that's lined up, and the altar's lined up for the reflection. Now let's put it back to normal. So this is upside down, as you can see in the middle here, but we need to be able to now effectively mask out the bits that we don't want. So to do that, what we do is we create a mask layer on layer 1. So that we go down to here, here's the mask layer, create mask layer. Now you've got your mask here. What we need to do, at the moment it's white, so we can't see through it. So what we need to do is make it all black. So the quickest way to make it all black is to actually just highlight the layer tool there and just do Command or Control I, which is inverse. Okay, you can see that in the properties as well. If you go down here, you'll find invert here. So I can click that to change it. If you haven't got the properties window open, go up to Windows at the top and select properties with a check mark, and then it will open it for you. So now it's vanished, as you can see, but it's black, which means if we paint white on there, we can show through effectively the other image, the other layer. So what I'm going to do is going to just do these two arrows to get my paint to white. If it's not white, just click on it and you can go up into the top left corner here and make sure you're 255, 255, 255. That'll give you full white. Then we're going to select a brush. So either press B or select the brush here. Take a small brush, and I'm just going to feather the edge ever so slightly. So I'm just going to go up here and just so about 30% hardness. So there's a little bit of a feathered edge. We're just going to zoom in on the areas we want to copy over. Now, if I paint, make sure you're selected on this layer mask. If I paint on here, it will paint through the image that we had up the other way. So let me just redo that. I'm just going to come up onto this edge here. So you can see we can just paint those flowers in, get the reflection that we want. I'm just going to come around there. And because we lined it up before we went down the other way, it perfectly lines up, as you can see. We'll go across to this side, and we're just going to do the same here. We're just going to paint him in the altar. There it is. We can do the same with this little bit here, just to blend that together through here, and just so it looks a little bit more natural. And I think this little line here needs just to be painted across. There we go. So once you're done, okay, there's a few little bits that need tidying up, but we just combine these two layers together. So we just right click and we flatten the image back into one image, and now we can use the remove tool to just take out anything that is like a duplicate, if you like. So we just take out those marks there. If we wanted, we could just take out this bit in the middle here altogether, so that becomes a solid piece. As you look through there, that looks fine. This is a bit of a duplicate here, so I'm just going to take that out as well. There we go. And then this little edge here, look, you see that just need to come through there and just tidy up that mess. And the remove tool's so good at just correcting these things. It's excellent in doing that. I'm just going to use it here as well on those two pillar, where the pillar joints are. It'll just straighten those ever so slightly for us. So let's zoom out. Yeah, it looks pretty good indeed. Just want to see how this edge looks here. We probably just need to blend that edge ever so slightly. So I'm using the remove tool there just to blend that edge a little bit more. And I just want to run that pillar through. So let's go back to the clone stamp tool. Let's take a stamp from up here using the Alt or Option key. And we're just going to just blend that so it looks like he's behind the pillar. There we go. And I'm going to say we are done with that. So let's zoom all the way back out. I'm just going to go down to the magnifying glass fit screen, and there we go. We've got the perfect reflection. from that edge and remove those chairs. Now I know it's not the real deal, and I know it's a creation, but hey, it's just a bit of fun. And I think when people look at the image, they will try to understand it. They will look at it and try and think, well, where is the reflection edge? And particularly with the altar complete in the center there, I think it makes for quite an interesting trick. And you can see the water running off the sides as well. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to File, Close and Save, and that will send it back into Lightroom for us. There we go. And we can just do the last little touch-ups here in Lightroom. So I'm just going to go open those shadows just a bit further. You know, in fact, what I'm going to do, because it's so light in the top half here, I'm just going to do the bottom half. So I'm going to select a mask, select a linear gradient, going to bring it up from the bottom to around about there, and then I'm going to open the shadows up. So it really opens them up at the bottom there. Just bring it up a bit more. There we go. And this one I'm going to add a little bit of contrast, because it's not quite as sharp, of course, because it's a reflection, but I'm also going to add some clarity to that image, so it just sharpens that all up really well. Little bit of a detail there, so let's just come out of here. Just want to zoom in there, a little bit of a detail there. So let's go to the heal tool whilst we're here. And what I'm going to do is just select the eraser there, make the brush a little bit bigger and just paint over that. That's it. And then click remove. And it's sorted it out. There we go. That looks much better. So there we go. That's the image. I'm not going to do a great deal more to it, actually. Just go back into the basic tools, probably just desaturate a little bit and add that vibrance in again. I think that gives quite a nice effect. Maybe just a little bit more saturation to really make the colors pop. Yeah, I'm not going to do anything further with that for now. I'm going to say I'm quite happy with that. It's a little bit of a trick shot. It gives people something to look at to try and figure out where the reflection is. A beautiful cathedral, beautiful cathedral. If you get a chance, go and visit Salisbury Cathedral in Wiltshire. Wonderful place, very friendly people. There's also a copy of the Magna Carta there, the very first Bill of Rights ever written. That's actually there. You can go and see that. Dates from about 1068. They've got an original parchment there, one of the 3 originals. So feel free to go along and have a look. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd love you to click like, and I really do enjoy your comments and questions and any tips that you might have. So feel free to drop them in the comments down below as well. And if you haven't already done so, it'd be great for you to join me on my endless adventure here on YouTube. So please click subscribe and join me. And but for now, I'm going to say bye-bye.